Hello, everybody. Time for our next episode of Carolina Rides. This is our once every couple of weeks look at the automotive scene across the Carolinas, across the Southeast as well. Of course, we're always open to suggestions for shows, for comments from you. Anything you want to see, anything you don't want to see. Maybe you know somebody who's got a collection who would like to be featured. In any case, you can always find us on social media, Facebook at Carolina Rides, Carolina Rides Official WSPA on Instagram, and our YouTube page at Carolina Rides WSPA. There's a good chance you're watching me there right now, and if you're watching me on the WSPA Plus streaming channel, all the other episodes are up on that YouTube page, and from time to time we may have some other content up there as well. Now, today's episode, and we're actually going to be doing a couple episodes here, there's an auction coming to Kissimmee, Florida. It's the Mecum Auctions show that's coming to Kissimmee. I want to lead this off with the fact that I'm a little bit biased here. This is my bidder badge from a previous auction, so I have been a customer. I would like to bring in now the voice of Mecum Auctions, and you can listen to and watch him on ESPN Plus during these auctions. It's Scott Hoke, who I've been watching you so long, it feels like you're almost a part of the family.
Well, Dan, thank you. I appreciate that very much. And it's good to be with you on the podcast today. We get that a lot. And that's, as you well know, that's one of the beautiful things about television is that people invite us literally into their home via the television or nowadays via the computer. And they get to know us and we become part of their family. And I hear that so often. It's very gratifying. It's very humbling. And above being a viewer, I'm really glad that you've been a customer in the past. That's double thumbs up for you.
Yeah, that was actually the Orlando Summer Special in 2022. I saw you guys.
Okay.
You were with the crew at the hotel restaurant sitting there, and I'm like, I kind of want to say hi. And they're like, no, they're eating. Leave them alone. Leave them alone.
No, you totally should have. You should have come over. It would have been fine.
Well, tell me a little bit about what got you started with Mecum in the first place. And of course, you've been the voice of their auctions for quite some time now.
We just finished our 18th season of television, believe it or not, at our auction in Kansas City in early December. And I've been with them since almost the very beginning. I came on board in episode number 4 of 2008, and it's completely a God story. A good friend of mine at the time, the executive producer of the show, a man named Terry Lingner, called me quite literally on a Friday night, and he said, "Hey, what are you doing tomorrow night?" And I said, well, I don't know. Terry's the type of guy that when he calls you, answer the phone and you say yes to whatever it is he's asking you to do. And I said, well, what do you have in mind? And he said, I'd like you to host this car show. I had a previous commitment for the following night that I couldn't, in good conscience, get out of. And he said, well, what about next Saturday? I said, I'm in. So that was in March of 2008. And I've missed 3 events since then. 2, when my daughters, each of them got married in different years. And 1 when I had COVID in Kansas City, ironically, in 2021. So it's been quite a string. And if you had asked me, 10, 12 years ago, how long this would last, I would have been shocked to think that we're beginning our 19th with Kissimmee in January. It's been remarkable. It's been fun, and I'm very blessed.
That's a pretty awesome story, that fact that basically this has kind of fell in your lap. I wish we could all be that lucky.
Exactly. And, well, as you well know, it doesn't always happen that way. And Terry Lingner and I had worked together in the past. We had a great relationship, and it actually worked out fantastically well for both of us.
All right, so now you obviously have seen numerous hours of auctions through the years and seen the growth of Mecum Auctions. Tell us a little bit, because we're in the Southeast. Kissimmee is one of the closer auctions to us. As this airs, we still have a week to go before the Kissimmee auction starts, which is on a Tuesday, January the 6th. So there may be people who are interested in either buying or selling, or hey, maybe even just watching. Tell us a little bit first about somebody who might be interested in buying a car. Obviously, you've seen how the auctions work. You've seen the auctioneers at work. What's that process like? What are the positives to somebody going through this as a way to sell the car or buying the car? Pick one first. Do one first.
Right. Either one. Well, I'll go with buying
Okay.
since you brought that up first. It can be, as you know, with a bidder badge, it can be a pretty harrowing experience for a first-time buyer, if you will. And that's not because it's bad. It's just because it's so loud. There's so much going on. There's so many people there. The cars are moving very quickly, and it can be really challenging to focus on the car that you came for or the car that you are interested in when it comes up on the block. And that's what I would say to anybody who is a prospective buyer is get there early. Make your travel plans, get there early. And I'm talking not just Kissimmee, but any of our auctions. We do roughly a dozen throughout the year. But get there early, find what you want, scope it out online ahead of time if you can, and get with our bidder assistants. They are there to help you. They're the folks that are out on the floor, the kind of the liaison between the auctioneer and you, the buyer, the potential buyer, and they will really do a good job of helping you stay on track, figure out where the bidding is on a particular car, asking you, maybe what your limit is ahead of time. And so just get a feel, if you're going to buy a car let's say on the first Saturday of our auction, get there on Thursday, walk around, get to know the lay of the land, and just observe what's going on before you get thrown into the fire.
Yeah, that rings true, because when I went to the auction in Orlando, basically I got there when doors opened. So I could take a look at what was going on that day and go through the cars for that day. I mean, there were some that, hey, that's fun to look at. But if you know you're interested in something, you can kind of concentrate and get a good look at the cars because they're all backstage and you can actually see them up close and personal, which is a great thing.
Absolutely. And take an opportunity to, if you can find the owner, take an opportunity to talk to the owner, find out as much about that car as you possibly can. Do your research. And again, just come prepared. The better prepared you are, the better experience that it's going to be. Now, a lot of times, sure, people they're going to be sitting in the audience and they see, let's say, a 69 Chevelle with a 396. Oh my gosh, I didn't know that car was going to be a part of the auction. They've had no time to research it or look at it or whatever, but maybe it's a car that their dad, it's very similar to what their dad had when they were a kid, or their grandfather, or whatever the case may be. And for them, it's an impulse buy. That's okay too. But generally speaking, and especially as I mentioned, for somebody who's never done it before, take the time to get prepared and get the background and get yourself familiar with that whole atmosphere, because it can be overwhelming.
Yeah, it's funny that you mentioned the 69 Chevelle. That wasn't what I got at the auction, but my wife has a 69 Chevelle with a high output 350 crate engine.
Very good. There you go. Excellent. Good for her.
So yeah,
let me ask you a question for a second. How often does she let you drive that car?
I actually don't drive it that much. We used to have a guy who actually worked on it whose garage was close to this station, but he kind of moved on to something else. So we take it somewhere. When it was within walking distance where I could walk to work, and I'd take it just for its tune-up or whatever, just drive it, and he'd look it over. Yeah. So I haven't actually, I have not been behind the wheel of it in a little bit, but she hasn't been not behind the wheel of the car I got at the Mecum auction either. So actually she was once, and for some reason she does not like a C5 Corvette.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
I don't know. I don't know what's up with her. Anyway, for somebody who's interested in becoming a bidder, obviously, one of the things they can do is go straight to the Mecum website.
Absolutely. It's really simple. You just click on buy, become a buyer, register to bid, and you'll be prompted to sign in with your My Mecum account. And if you don't have one, you can sign up for that. It's super easy. It's totally free. And all it does is give us a way to communicate with you. And then I'm looking at the bidder page right now. You can register as an individual, you can register as a dealer. There are several different levels, including just a standard bidder. You can bid online, you can bid over the phone, you can bid in person. And then our gold bidder level at Kissimmee is actually $750 for the bidder. And you get all kinds of cool perks, including complimentary parking. You get a gold bidder guest badge, preferred seating up front, access to the gold bidder lounge. So there are a couple of different ways to do it, and all super friendly. The gold bidder deal actually is really good because it's good for the entire run of the auction. If it's 3 days in Kansas City, or if it's 13 days in Kissimmee, as we're going to see here in short order.
Yeah, I almost did the gold bidder when we went, but that was kind of a relatively short auction. But I think it's
Sure.
great that you can get that badge and go to Fort Kissimmee multiple days. When as just a regular spectator, that's a daily charge.
Absolutely, it really is, and it makes a big difference. And even a standard bidder badge gets you access to the auction in its entirety, but not with some of the gold bidder perks. And that's okay. Hey, it's still a bidder badge, and you can still buy a car. You can still buy the car of your dreams with no problem.
Now, tell me a little bit about the bid goes on. In fact, that is how I
Okay.
ended up with my car because it had not been bid upon to the liking of the consignor. And that night, I just sat up in the hotel room going through some stuff. I'm like, that one seems undervalued. So I went down to the desk, and it was an amazing process. They just said, well, come up with a number and we'll see what we can do. And probably within
Right.
half an hour, my phone rang when it was a phone number with a Wisconsin area code, and I'm like, Walworth. All right, I think that might be Mecum, and it was.
Yep. Well, I'm glad you brought that up. Bid goes on is actually kind of a second chance for a car to be sold. Let's say, for example, this does not apply if it's a no reserve car, okay? Because that car is going to sell on the block regardless because it doesn't have a reserve. But bid goes on in your situation, Dan, if the car does not meet the reserve that the consignor has set ahead of time, it'll go to the bid goes on guys. And basically, just as you described it, they will take folks who approach the desk and are interested in a car, make an offer, and they will do their best to put you together with a consignor and make that deal happen. That is to the satisfaction of both parties. It may not be, exactly what the consignor wanted initially, but by that point, I think they're pretty aware that, there's going to be some dealing going on off the block. And it's a great opportunity to if you miss something, to, just like you said, to sift through some of the cars that are there on the monitors or on the website and find something that may have slipped through the cracks for a lot of other people, but something that you really want. And it's a terrific way to do it. And over the course of an auction, Mecum will generally sell about 10% of what ends up being the total sales number, about 10% through the bid goes on desk. So it's really effective.
And for those who are interested in buying, once you register bid, or even before you register to bid, you can go to the website. I've got it up there right now, and just thumb through all the different cars. In fact, you can even hit a search engine here, and if you're looking for something in particular, like a Ford Torino from 1970 or something like that, type that in. If there's one at the auction, it'll pop up, and you can kind of focus on what it is you might be interested in.
And that's also a really good point because you can use that website not just to see what's coming up, but let's say you're looking for a 2005 or a C5 Corvette, like your wife has. You can search a year within that generation or a couple of years, or search all Corvettes from previous auctions and find out kind of what the trend has been over the last couple of years with a given year of the Corvette. And so that our website, going back in time, going back in the history book, so to speak, is a really good resource when you are doing your research to look at a car, whether it's a Torino or a Corvette or whatever the case may be. You can do some of that research right on our website.
Okay, we're going to take a short break here. We've kind of taken a look at the buyer's side of this. We're going to talk about what you want to do if you're selling a car at Mecum. We'll be back with Scott in just a moment. Stay with us. Welcome back to Carolina Rides. Scott Hoke with Mecum Auctions and ESPN Plus joins us once again. Okay, we talked about, all right, if you want to bid on a car, what you need to do. Well, obviously, in order to bid on a car, people have to sell them. And somebody around here may be interested in going through that process. What is that process like? What does somebody need to do? Kind of walk us through that.
Okay, yeah, no problem. It's super easy. It's the opposite of buying a car. When you decide that you want to sell a car, just maybe one car or a half a dozen or a collection of 50, whatever the case may be, just contact our office and get with one of our consignment agents. And they are a fantastic group of folks who will take you through every step of the process. One of the biggest things that the consignment agents will do is to try to establish a realistic value on your car or on each car in your collection. And I emphasize the word realistic because a lot of people have, unfortunately, a bit of an inflated view of their car. And that may be because it's sentimental, or they've had it for a long time, or they saw a different GT. There's Jamie McLeod there in that photograph on the right. He's one of our consignment agents, terrific guy. They may have seen, let's say, another 1968 GT500 KR go to the moon, and they're thinking, well, I've got one of those. It's got to be worth at least that much. Not necessarily. I mean, so much of the value of a car depends on many different factors. So get with the consignment agent and establish that value that you would like to see out of the car. We'll figure out where in the run of the auction makes the most sense. Well, first of all, we'll figure out which auction. Still taking consignments for Kissimmee, but for example, if you've got a Lamborghini, everything will work at Kissimmee. After Kissimmee, if you've got a Lamborghini or a high-end Porsche 911, you might be better off taking that to our Monterey auction. A heavy-hitting muscle car might be Indianapolis in May or Dallas in the fall. Pickup trucks are hot everywhere, but especially in Dallas and Houston. So each auction has its own personality, and our consignment agent will help you figure out which one is the best for you based on where you are and the vehicles that you want to sell. And they'll put together a package and you'll be off and running, and they'll get photography done. Or if you've got your own photography, you can do that as well. Is presentation. Make sure that if you're going to sell a car or a number of cars, that you have high quality photographs, not, with an Instamatic that's backlit with the sun in the wrong direction and blurry and that sort of thing. You want to make your car look really spectacular on our website so that people are going to be attracted to it. And then the presentation when you're on site is also so important. How that car looks when it's just sitting there. Make sure it's all detailed. Make sure it is ready to go. A lot of guys will put mirrors under their cars to show off the undercarriage, show off the traction bars, show off the suspension, whatever the case may be. And that all goes with the presentation of the car, and that makes a huge difference. I cannot emphasize that enough.
What are some of the things, now that we know and somebody, what to do if somebody wants to consign our car? What are some of the things, because you've obviously talked to the auctioneers, you've talked to all the bidders agents and all the consignment agents and all that. Obviously, there are probably some things that you should not do. Have you come across anything or any stories where it's just like, you know what, whether you're a bidder, you're a consigner, don't do that?
Well, not to shame anybody or anything, but
No names.
for 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 example, on a convertible, we talk on our show all the time about, do you put the top down or do you put the top up as the car is on the block? There are a couple of different schools of thoughts about that. If you've got a car that really has an incredible look with the top down, put the top down as it's coming across the block. Maybe leave it up to show off the brand new top or the super clean rear window out in the staging area, and that's okay. But take that top and put it down, gives it more visual appeal and eye snap, if you will. And if you're a consigner, you want to be present when your car is coming up for auction. And a lot of times we'll see that that the consigner is nowhere to be found for whatever reason. Make sure you're there so that the auctioneers and the bidder assistants can communicate with you. Is it time to take the reserve off? Do we want to let it go a little while longer? What's your bottom line? What's the number you need to have? So just a couple of things. One is presentation related, and one is just the mechanics of the auction. You got to be there. Just be there when your cars are on the block.
That's one of the things at the start of each auction. Lead auctioneer Jimmy Landis actually goes through that kind of list of what to do in that situation. And if your car is on the block, we want you up here.
Absolutely right. He does every single time. And some people aren't paying attention, so pay attention.
Well, they may not even be right there at that time. I mean, if it starts at 10 a.m., they may not wander until noon because the car isn't selling until 2 or something like that. And so I can kind of see that. But then again, if you've done this a while, you know what to do, right?
Exactly. Yes.
Now, you don't have to be a buyer, you don't have to be a seller. These are almost like car museums that are kind of open to the general public too when these auctions are going on.
Dan, I talk about this all the time. Mecum Auctions, yes, first and foremost, it's an auction, and we are trying to put buyers and sellers together and make everybody as happy as possible. But in addition to that, and it's difficult for us to show this as it deserves to be shown on television, it is the largest and best car show that you will ever attend, period. And I'm talking about the fact that, Kissimmee is going to have 4,500 cars, give or take a couple of hundred perhaps. There will be something there, I promise you, that you have never seen before. There might be something that you didn't even know existed on the planet that you'll see at Mecum Kissimmee. So be prepared for the unexpected. It is massive. It's more than 1 million square feet under roof. There are, I think, 10 or 11 tents, 200 square acres, I believe, on the property at Osceola Heritage Park in Kissimmee. All these numbers are kind of the details escaping me at the moment, but it is just absolutely massive. We actually had to access property next to the park last year to accommodate overflow parking. It was that big, so it's just massive.
And for those who are interested, I just popped it up on screen right now. This is on the Mecum website. This is the page where, for the Kissimmee auction in particular, one can go ahead and buy tickets for the event. But of course, that works just the same with all the other auctions as well.
Yeah, absolutely right. And one thing that I would point out real quickly, and thank you for putting this up, you can get discounted 25% discounts on your tickets if you buy them online in advance. And that means up until midnight the night before the auction begins on January the 6th. So if you're thinking about going, take advantage of that and get your tickets ahead of time. It'll save you 25% on the overall price. And as you see also, you can get a 1-day ticket, you can get a 3-day pass, or if you're planning on going for more than that, it just kind of makes sense to get a standard bidder badge. Then you can come and go as often as you like.
Which, of course, is the best deal going, especially if you're interested in cars. And when you got that many cars, that's one of those things where if you want to see everything, you really just can't be there for one day.
No question. It's kind of like going to Disney World or whatever, to your favorite amusement park. You cannot see it all in a day and give it its due respect, if you will, because I guarantee you there will be cars that you're going to say, man, I'm worn out. I've been walking. I've got in 20,000 steps today, but I've got to see something else tomorrow. So let's come back.
All right, that is kind of a preview of what's coming up with the start of the Kissimmee auction. Again, that starts on Tuesday, January 6th. This has been so nice. You know what? We're going to do it twice because we've got another episode with Scott that's going to come up, that's going to air in a couple of weeks, right about halfway through the Kissimmee auction. And we're going to take a closer look at, especially with an auction like that. And when you get to the tail of the auction, that's when you start talking about some of the heavy hitters. And we're going to be back with Scott to take a closer look at that and maybe tell some more Mecum stories as well. Thanks for episode 1, Scott, and we'll see you soon for episode 2.
You got it. Thank you, Dan.
Now, thanks for watching, everybody. Stay with Carolina Rides. We'll see you next time.